If you like our show, you should check out the Retail Brew newsletter from Morning Brew. Retail Brew dives into the latest news and trends in the retail industry. It covers new innovations in direct-to-consumer, sustainability, automation, retail tech, and more. Sign up today via the link in our show notes.
Welcome to Total Retail Talks, your podcast channel for retail knowledge.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Total Retail Talks. I'm Joe Keenan, Editor-in-Chief of Total Retail. I'm here at the CRMC conference in Chicago, and I'm joined on this episode by Jason Scoggins, the Senior Director of Loyalty and CRM at Chipotle. We're going to talk to Jason a little bit about Chipotle's loyalty program and kind of how it's evolved and kind of what's planned for the future. So thank you for joining me, Jason.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
So to get us started, why don't you go ahead and tell our audience a little bit about your professional background, and then I mentioned your title, but also kind of your day-to-day and current role at Chipotle.
Absolutely. So my background's a little varied when it comes to how I got into the loyalty space, but while it's varied, it was very planful. I decided early on, I actually started out in nonprofit, running membership programs for a museum, and made the decision as I moved into the corporate space after receiving my MBA that I wanted to get experience in multiple industries so that I could really focus on CRM and loyalty as a specialty, irregardless of what industry I was in. So initially, after grad school, I joined an agency, one of the best places to get broad experience and also to completely exhaust yourself. But it was a really good start, and I was able to work on great brands from Nestle to a lot of pharmaceuticals, as well as higher education. So it kind of gave me a good background. From there, I moved to Southwest Airlines and really was able to join that company at a point when digital was really taking off. And so was able to really hone in on bringing in that customer data and bringing in technology to really drive those personal connections from a digital perspective. Southwest was always great from a face-to-face personal, but digital was new for the brand at the time. From there, I moved to a pure play e-com, really was able to understand, that true e-commerce perspective at a startup, which was really interesting. From there, I went to JCPenney, and JCPenney was really a great brand. It was during a rebuild time, and so again, it was another opportunity to really be able to focus on the customer and figure out how, from a digital perspective with CRM and loyalty, you could really grow those relationships and really build back that customer relationship specifically there. From there, I went to TGI Fridays for a brief stint, which ultimately got me to Chipotle. At Chipotle, it was really a great opportunity I came in as the company, again, it was in a rebuild phase. We had just moved our headquarters from Denver, where we were founded, to Newport Beach, and we were really rebuilding the team at Chipotle. And so I was able to come in, and shortly after I came in, we launched our pilot program for Chipotle Rewards. So we launched in 3 markets and really started getting our learnings. From there, we launched Chipotle Rewards in March of 2019 and really have just seen the program expand and grow, and it's really been a fun and definitely a challenging experience.
Yeah. Your varied background across so many different industries. You talk about retail, you talk about travel and hospitality, it's at the travel industry at Southwest, and nonprofit. So you kind of bring this diverse background, which probably helps in your current position.
It really does. It really does. And in fact, while I was building out my team and was talking to the recruiter while we were doing the rebuilding here at Chipotle, was the one thing I asked for is don't bring me candidates that are working in the restaurant space. I want folks from travel. I want folks from retail. Restaurant, for the most part, it was fairly new to loyalty and CRM. This is really, cutting edge for this industry, whereas travel and retail had really figured this out years before. And so, I think that was, I think it's really important. A lot of people want to look at bringing in folks from their competitors and really and growing from within the industry. But I really see a lot of value with looking across industries, because ultimately that relationship with your customer is the same whether you're an airline, a retailer, or a restaurant.
Yeah, you want personalized and quality experiences, whether it's, to your point, an airline or a restaurant or a
Absolutely.
retailer. So great. Yeah. So then let's get into the current space that you're in the retail industry, and obviously super competitive. Chipotle is in that kind of space. What do we consider it? A quick service restaurant, I would imagine?
Fast casual,
Fast
actually.
casual,
We
yeah.
actually started the fast casual category
Yeah.
within restaurants back in 1993 when we were founded.
So tell us a little bit about, in that fast casual kind of niche of the restaurants industry, what Chipotle is doing to differentiate itself from some of the others in the marketplace.
Yeah, honestly, what we're doing is what we've always done. So since we were founded in Denver in 1993, we've always had a mission of cultivating a better world and being able to bring real fresh ingredients to our customers and make it accessible no matter where you are. So we feel that by doing that and staying really true to our mission, that is what will separate us from our competitors. When you go into a Chipotle, first of all, if you go in during morning prep, before the restaurant actually opens, it feels like you're walking into a farmer's market. We've got fresh produce arriving. We've got the entire crew is in there cutting the vegetables,
work, yeah.
mashing the avocados, all by hand. You won't find a freezer, you won't find a can opener, you won't find a microwave. None of those things will show up in a Chipotle, because it's all about that fresh, real experience.
Getting into the loyalty aspect, tell us a little bit about Chipotle Rewards, the rewards program that Chipotle offers, and how you're designing that program so that it provides real value for its members.
Absolutely. So when we started the program, it was a bit of a layup, to be quite honest. I mean, Chipotle has super fans.
Yeah.
On top of super fans. Like, it is something crazy that I have never seen. Maybe a little bit at Southwest. We had some
very ardent, fanatical followers.
Very much so. And so, when we first launched the program, we just had to launch a program. Honestly, we didn't have to do much. Within our first week of launching, we had 1 million folks sign up in that first 7 days, which is insane. And so we did, because we knew we wanted to get into the market quickly. We knew we wanted to be one of the first. At that time, really the only other two major players were Starbucks and Chick-fil-A. A few smaller companies were out there, but for the most part in the big restaurant space, that was it. So we wanted to get to market. What we have done since then is continually learn and evolve, and we didn't want to hold back and wait for perfect. We wanted to launch and get out there and then learn. With this being, again, loyalty fairly new to the restaurant space, there was a lot of opportunity to really invent the wheel. We weren't reinventing; we were actually inventing it in our industry, and so having that opportunity was really big for us. And so, we launched in 2019. In 2020, we launched one of our first big initiatives, which was Guac Mode, which was a way to reward our founding members with free guac drops randomly throughout the year. And so if you had joined by a certain point, you became Guac Mode verified. You've got that verified badge in your app, something that highly coveted. And we were able to start bringing in some of that surprise and delight. After that, we launched the Rewards Exchange, which was an opportunity for guests to not just bank up their points until they got to a free entree, but they could actually go into a rewards store environment and could start cashing in for chips or a drink, double protein, or they could also cash in for their points for a donation to a charity, as well as towards Chipotle goods, which our super fans love. Chipotle goods. It's insane. They will wear you put the logo on it, they will wear it. And after that, we launched Extras, which was our gamification platform, and really brought that level of gamification into the program where people could accept challenges and work to boost their points to earn free Chipotle faster.
So giving them this variety of options to choose from, also making it fun.
Yeah.
And I think one of the key words I want to go back to is you reiterated learning about your customers when you rolled this out, because you had those brand supporters that you knew about. You didn't have a formal program in place. So, which actually is going to lead into my next question. As you learned about them, I would imagine one of the things that you were doing when you launched this program is that you wanted to learn about those existing, really supportive customers so you could find more like them and convert more customers to the brand. Tell us a little bit about how that data piece factors into growing the program.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like finding those lookalikes, really understanding who those customers are is key. We rode the wave of, we spent that first year of the program really bringing in guests that were the super fans. Year 2 was the blessing and the curse of the pandemic, where digital sales grew. Digital made it a lot more accessible, so we brought in a lot of customers through that, which actually helped tremendously because the data you gather from a digital customer is a lot greater than the in-restaurant. Whereas in-restaurant, we're capturing, if you order chicken versus steak versus sofritas or a burrito or a bowl, but we're not getting down to the nitty-gritty. It's in the digital experience where we know white or brown rice, which salsa you prefer, and we can really get fine-tune specifically, the activations that we're doing based on down to the ingredient level of personalization.
Yeah. Perfect segue into the next question in terms of, is there an example of how you're using that data that you're collecting, whether it's from a digital customer, whether it's from an in-store customer, to personalize their experience for a future Chipotle purchase, visit, interaction with the brand?
Absolutely. So we've got at the core of our program, and a lot of, fairly standard in a lot of programs, are journeys. So CRM journeys that we place people in based on where they are in their life cycle as a customer. Those are highly personalized, where we really leverage the data to make sure that we are giving you the most personalized experience ever. So, whether it's something very simple to as we know you have only ordered vegetarian options, so we are not going to send you a picture of a burrito with steak in it. Like last thing you'd ever want to do for a vegetarian is to, show them a bunch of meat in their emails. That's not knowing who your customer is. We also look at another journey example would be post-customer care. So when a customer does reach out to our care team, we want to make sure that we white glove them back into the regular marketing cadence after their situation has been resolved. And so we really use that data to understand who that customer is, what their purchase behavior has been, but also, what is their regular cadence? What restaurants are they going to? How can we bring that in to make sure that we know them and that we are messaging them in a way that's appropriate? If someone's just had an issue and we know that they only come in once every 3 months, we're not going to be putting a hard sell on that customer right at that point. We're going to reassure them that, we're here to make things better, that we're here to deliver their chicken salad bowl to the best that we absolutely can, and invite them to come back in. From a mass scale, one of our uses of data that is really exciting is this last year we launched a Chipotleversary email. So every year on your anniversary within the program, we send you kind of a year in review recap of your experience with Chipotle. We actually have 35 different data points in that one communication. So we've got 28 million members, and throughout the year we are sending out 28 million completely unique messages to those customers, and some of it is aggregate to their community level, so they know like where they fit in with other customers, but also down to, are they mild or spicy when it comes to their salsa? Are they team guac or team queso? Where do they rank within the rest of the Chipotle community? Are you in the top 0.5% of Chipotle customers? Things like that. It's really fun. It's also got a lot of social pickup.
Yeah.
So every time we send it, we start seeing people posting, particularly those that fall in that 0.5 to top 1% of customers. Lots of bragging rights.
Yeah, and it's kind of a status level, and
Yeah.
you want to maintain that status level if you're that high, and others that they're trying to reach it.
Exactly.
So it's a driving point. So the social aspect is really interesting. Those are some great examples of how you're using data to kind of personalize the customer journey. Talk about the role technology plays in that to execute upon what you're doing.
Yeah, one of the themes that we heard a lot at the conference yesterday was, all the data in the world means nothing if you don't have a way to action on it. And so, as we were building out our MarTech stack, which we started that effort about 2.5 years ago, where we brought in a new CRM engine, we brought in a CDP, we really brought in the tools to make sure that we could, no matter what we did, that we could actually action on it and learn from it. And that's really key. One of the things that we don't want to do is ever ask for data that we're not going to use. Right now we're on a big, as I think a lot of folks are, on a zero-party data initiative to try to figure out how to best capture that, what's the best data to capture, how to capture it, and then how to actually use it. And, there's been a lot of debates. We have stakeholders within the company that want to know what a customer likes in this particular space, and we have to put it through the lens of, are we going to use that, or do you just want to know it? And, making sure that we don't ever erode that customer trust when it comes to asking for the data and how we're going to use it.
And to your point, if you're not going to use it, there's a risk to store it and manage it.
Absolutely.
The privacy component's there. So why collect it if you're not going to use it?
Absolutely.
So finally, Jason, talk a little bit about the loyalty and CRM opportunities that you're kind of most bullish on for your organization at Chipotle for the remainder of this year.
Yeah. As I mentioned, last year we launched Extras, which is our first kind of step into gamification. And I really see that becoming even a bigger thing for Chipotle, but also just in our space as a whole. I think that, for us, driving the incremental transactions, like that's happening. What we need to do, though, is make sure that we're engaging folks. And whether that is engaging them with opportunities to earn extra points or just to earn a badge, to collect a digital badge that they can house in their app, our customers are loving that. And I think that there's so much opportunity to continue to do that. Like, by doing that, I think we're creating an opportunity for the customer to have a little bit more of a relationship with us. They aren't, it's not just walking in the store, going down the line, placing your order, scanning and walking out, but it's actually getting them more invested in the program and doing so in a way that's fun and engaging.
I also think what you're doing that's wisely is you're creating a program where they want to interact and engage with each other, not just the brand.
Absolutely. And, I think that, I think when you look towards the future of loyalty overall, not, maybe not for the remainder of 2022, but 23 and 24 and beyond, I think the community is going to become a really big piece of it. People want to belong. If you look at some of those best in class, they're loyalty programs, but they're not traditional loyalty programs. Things like Peloton or Duolingo, programs like that, where you truly are part of the community first. They've got all the elements of a loyalty program. They've got the gamification, they've got the badges, they've got the leaderboards, but there's not, they're not earning points.
Right.
But I think that and the customer's expectation after they've participated in programs like that, I think is going to begin to spill out to all loyalty programs.
Great. Well, we're just about out of time, so I want to take the opportunity to thank Jason Scoggins, the Senior Director of Loyalty and CRM at Chipotle, for joining us on this episode of Total Retail Talks. Thanks, Jason.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for listening. For more information on this podcast, please check out our podcast channel page at mytotalretail.com/podcasts for show notes. Total Retail Talks is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify. Make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a few moments to rate and review this podcast. Thanks, and until next time, this has been Total Retail Talks.
Are you a retail leader who's looking to stay up to date on the latest industry news? Then join Retail Brew's community of retail professionals. Sign up today via the link in our show notes.